For the record, everybody's here. So, okay, so let me go back. So back into our economic development plans. So if you remember, in the past, we were looking at different economic development plans and downtown master plans that other communities have done, and we were kind of thinking about putting one together for ourselves. So that's kind of what I wanted to jump back into today, and kind of go over with everybody different what we want to have included. This one that Burke did is a pretty good one. So what I kind of wanted to do is go through some of the chapters that they put together, kind of pick out what we think might work for us, skip the stuff that we don't think will work for us, and kind of just put together a game plan of how we want to go forward with this. So I'll just start with the Burke document here. So if we scroll,
yes. You're short now.
So we look at the contents of this plan. Again, a brief introduction, guiding statements. We have a geography of analysis, strategies and action steps, plan implementation, stakeholder engagement, and situation assessment. So I'll just jump over to plan overview, and we can kind of just look at what they're doing, what they've put together here. So page 3. Introduction. Here we go. So this is kind of focusing on a downtown. Again, we can focus on the down. I guess let's kind of think about that a little bit right now. How do we want to focus this? Do we want this to be a citywide action, or do we want this to have a more of a narrow scope? Do we want to focus on the downtown in certain corridors? What are we thinking? So
I think Sunnyside as a whole, because we're already a small community anyway, so versus downtown. Because of course we don't want downtown to die.
Right.
You know, I mean, so many things, but I mean, of course,
The downtown association is gonna, well, we wanna do that, but then we also wanna do. Yeah.
Right, and that being said, you can incorporate like a downtown element into this overall.
yeah,
strategy.
that'll be a big
Yeah.
couple pages,
Yeah.
and then our overall plan that covers all.
So that cover city. So we'll just kind of take some of these bits and expand them. Perfect. So yeah, okay. So we'll look at the city as a whole. Great. So that's again. So they started out with a vision statement. It's based on the goals and policies of the city's comprehensive plan. Doesn't necessarily have to be of our comprehensive plan. It could be something you put together. It can be something that we hold. Maybe that's what we want to do to kick this thing off. Is we have like a stakeholder kickoff meeting, invite the community out, and they can help us put together a vision statement. That's absolutely acceptable too. So it's kind of something to think about how we want to do that moving forward. Any thoughts on that? Do you want to try and put something together yourselves, or do you want to do this as more of like a fishbowl approach, I guess, so to speak?
I would think maybe we can create ideas here and then share those with the community once we have it narrowed down, just because.
That's our vision.
Right.
Yeah.
The vision and our mission here, and then share.
Because then it gets really obscured once everybody puts so much of it together. It's like we want everybody's opinion, but
yeah, we'll come back with
first.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Similar to what our goal is already for economic development, like literally bettering our city and the growth, so, in a positive way.
Okay.
I like all those strategies on the side.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
Like the walkability, you know, all that stuff.
yes. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, so we can work on that, we'll work on that, so we're gonna kind of break this down into chunks, so. These plans are laid out, we're gonna break that down into some chunks as we approach it. Because we have only so much time, and then once we go through those chunks, we'll kind of. And we'll start the kind of the public planning
Yeah.
process, so. Perfect, okay. So. Yeah, they kind of outline, different strategies, as you can see there, and. It's, a lot of them are good ideas, so.
right.
Okay, so then they kind of came up with focus areas, and they, again, it can kind of be abstract, it can kind of be a specific point, it can be a corridor, it can be, the focus is kind of how you want to take it, so business and development climate, quality of life, economic diversity, and downtown experience. So we could, because we're on the Yakima Valley Highway and 82, we're kind of pinched between two large arterial areas, so we can talk about. Again, we can talk about
Locational.
yeah. So however you wanted to think about that. Any thoughts, any ideas on?
On our focus areas?
Yeah, is there anything you wanna? A lot of these you'll probably see a lot of overlap between different
Right,
communities.
yeah.
Because a lot of it has to do with business climate, especially if you're on, two major arterials and
Yeah,
Fourth District, that's right there, so.
I like,
Economic diversity, like all that.
yes, I like them all, I mean,
Okay.
we can definitely use those.
Yeah.
Downtown experience, image and branding. I mean, our image and branding are standard for downtown and for the city overall. That's something that we definitely want to focus on.
Yeah, we can take these, we can definitely take these and modify them, like these aren't the end all be all, these are just kind of overarching
Yeah.
ideas. So, okay.
I think for sure we definitely need to get our identity.
Like that kind of sets a tone from.
Yes,
Oh,
it'll be like our foundation a little bit,
yeah.
then we can.
Maybe put that one first so they can see it. Important.
Like our identity, image and branding to be one of our top focus areas.
So maybe it's not,
Economic diversity definitely has to be in the top.
Agriculture.
Yeah,
so maybe it's not downtown experience, maybe it's Sunnyside experience.
city experience,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, okay, cool. So I'll put together something that looks at these. And kind of expand on them a little bit, where you guys can kind of go through and cut
Yeah.
things and critique it and whatever you want to do. Okay, perfect. Okay, so then it looks like they had these focus areas and then they put together different strategies to kind of emphasize these focus areas. So that's kind of what these are over here. So we'll move on. So and then they have like a little blurb on business
section.
on each section.
I like that.
Can we back up real quick, go up real quick? Like when I seen it was promote building use or something, go up. real quick.
Yeah,
Strategies.
number 5, or no, number 2,
Oh,
promote
yes.
and reuse, we need to, yes,
So
we
we
do.
should highlight that one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I think you're in the works on something
I am,
similar, right?
yes. We'll see how that goes.
It's gonna go good. We're gonna release that right now, it's gonna go good.
Right, yeah. Okay, so yeah, quality of life and placemaking. Something we can definitely talk about. Okay, so then they have some case studies that they talk about, so they're talk about other communities and what they've done. Again, we can definitely reference.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
pretty easy to do.
family friendly downtown, absolutely.
Yeah, so and that's one of the things, so I'm currently working on I'm just gonna kind of scroll through these quickly, just because these are all case studies. But we can kind of look at them and see what their improvements to,
Station access improvements in parking. Well, that's another one, parking. And our signage and wayfinding.
right, and yeah, I think the
That's part of
signage
it
and
in there
wayfinding
too.
Oh,
is-
yeah.
it's really important. Economic diversity, I think that's something that we really need to kind of, well, okay, let's back up here. So I'm kind of working with I am working with the Yakima Valley Conference of Governments right now. We're putting together a housing needs assessment. We also are thinking about putting together a housing action plan. I think we'll be able to do it. But the housing needs assessment basically looks at our demographics, our income, our vacant properties, our occupied properties, all this information is available, but it kind of looks at all of those things together and puts it in a little bundle we can look at and digest. But just some really quick facts here. Something like 65% of the residents of Sunnyside are between the ages of 15 and 40. It's a massive
Wow.
young population, it's huge. And then the other thing is that 75% of the people who work in Sunnyside don't live in Sunnyside. So we all know a couple people who fit in that category. So
Yeah,
so there's just these things that are out there that are kind of,
But there's a trend, it's like, why is that going on? Why
Yeah.
are people moving out of town?
I don't think there's one moving out. I don't think there's
But there's-
anything available.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
I think
Well, look
that's-
at when I was trying to buy, there was nothing here.
There
And
isn't
what-
anything, there's nothing here to rent, there's nothing here to buy,
There's
there's nothing
nothing.
here to nothing.
I tried renting, I tried buying, there's nothing. Everything that was available was either way over budget and not up the street for my lifestyle.
Right, it's true.
And that was the struggle, and not just that. There's a lot out there, but we also have to understand that there's mortgage laws and rules that even if you can't afford a certain monthly payment, they go based off as a business owner and our W-2s, we could afford it monthly, but it wasn't there on the books, I guess you could say.
Yes,
And so I really wanted this house and I could totally afford the monthly payment, but for some reason it wasn't reachable, and those kind of things also is heartbreaking, so Sunnyside was not an option for us. And we found plenty of houses, it's just the land wasn't there. And so what happens then, you start looking on the outskirts, Matin, Outlook, you know, out towards what highway is that, 241? Prosser, Zilla, so.
Yeah, we extended all the way to Bensy.
Yeah, I extended all the way to Toppage. Up going towards Pickleton. Our last was Tri-City. So it's just, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And it can be a little bit frustrating, but there really isn't anything. And then there's good job opportunities here too, so when we hire, we reach out to the towns, our neighboring towns.
There's no central, there's several big companies in Sunnyside that I know of that are having a hard time getting people to come work for them.
Yes,
So
which ties
To the,
directly into economic diversity. It's directly correlated, the amount of housing that you're gonna, I think you're gonna say, I'm sorry, I cut you off, but.
no, I'm glad, I just
yeah,
did the job for it.
so people
Yeah.
need to be closer to those jobs.
They need to be closer, yes.
And yeah, so 4 years ago, when I would put up a that I'm hiring post, I would get Grandview and Sunnyside, like I wouldn't even have to look. And now my Indeed page is like, we found a match, and you're talking Cle Elum, Ellensburg, Mattawa, I mean,
super far.
Yeah, so,
Who wants to come from Cleveland?
ooh, yeah, I don't hate
People
like
do,
that.
I mean, I heard of
We don't pay
people
enough
that
to.
come from, there's a married couple,
That's,
that drive from Cleveland to Sunnyside
oh
for work.
my
I was
goodness.
gonna say, I don't pay enough for someone.
My
to-
husband worked with the guy for like 20 years, or not 20 years, like 15 years or so. And all he did was change oil, and he lived in Clayton, or he lived in Clayton and drove every day. Was like,
Yeah, I saw that on
Maybe
TV, that's
maybe it was the
insane.
same people, but they was a couple that they would commute down to
Wow.
Sunnyside every day.
Yeah.
He'd drop her off at work, and then he would go to work.
So
We have the
definitely-
jobs, but not the homes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, and that's gonna, I have to talk to planning commission about that, but we need to be open to
so what's the
All
percentage on that again?
like 75%.
Work here and live out of it, I believe it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know,
That's
it's not
insane.
fair, yeah.
That number is like crazy high.
It's very, very high, yeah. And I know that there's some companies in town that want to expand too, and just expand aggressively. And it's just gonna be, we're gonna be playing catch up with housing right now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something for us to think about a little bit as we go forward. So, okay, so they have some local infrastructure financing stuff. This is lift, curb. So there's tools that we can use to basically encourage economic development. There's one more that's out there, it's not on this list, it's called CHIP. It's called the Connecting Housing Infrastructure Program. Currently Sunnyside's not eligible for it. It's a program. We basically have to, well, city council has to move forward with instituting with 0.1% sales tax levy on all goods in the city, which would bring us from 0.017% to 0.018%. So it'd be $8.30 per every $100 spent, or whatever that comes to, instead of $8.20. That program basically pays, it's 100% grant for water and sewer extension connection services. So if you look at like cities like Seattle, they've got like $6 million CHIP funding to build like 600 units. But what you can do is drag some sewer and water down the street, and everybody in between it can connect to it. So it's pretty cool. The city of Yakima has used it. They've gotten like $3 million. They've built something like 300 units. So I think it's a really good program. It really does fund a need. It's really good for infill service. It's just something that
They would attract developers.
we're gonna try.
We would.
Yeah,
We
big
would.
time. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's just something to think about as we move forward, that there are other things out there. Yeah, there are other things out there, and if it had something that's tied to a levy. Y'all might be a good sounding board to kind of give your thoughts and opinions on that. Say if I ever go to city council and want to, request this or have a study session on this. If you're in support of it as a commission or not in support of it as a commission, you can talk to the council and why that would be. Because you're all business owners, so you'd be a good sounding board for something like that. So again, just something that we can put out there in the future, think about a little bit, chew on. Okay, so again, just funding tools for economic growth. So here they have downtown experience. We want to change that to Sunnyside experience. So and for our next meeting in October, I won't be here, but Cindy will be here.
I'll be here.
I can talk to you.
Yeah.
But we'll put together a little something for y'all to kind of go over. Okay, and then they move into geography of analysis. So this is, again, they're just kind of looking at different boundaries within the city. They're looking at access points to their city, for Sunnyside, we have three exits off of 82, and then we have Yakima Valley Highway, and then we have 241. So we have 2 state highways and a US highway that bisect us. We're kind of in a decent spot, like logistically for a lot of things. How can we capitalize on that and kind of put ourselves in a better position to use those assets? Because being along a highway is not really a bad thing, especially one that.
As long as you give them a really good reason to get off the highway.
Yeah,
So that's
That's
There.
good, that's.
there we
Yeah.
go. How do you get them off?
How do you get them?
There needs to be a slogan for this right now.
yeah, a big, I know our neighboring towns have it, but like a big rest area. Or something. For the
Yeah.
tractors.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, very soon.
What Maverick?
No, in Grandview,
Oh,
big truck stop.
yeah, they're building one there. There's been one that's been talking about coming to Sunnyside, right next to where the hospital site is.
And then Loves and Concert has their, yeah.
Yeah, but
I
they're,
don't know, does that,
They're full.
does that not always bring people downtown when you do that? Like when you're traveling,
No.
and you need to use the restroom, I mean, you're traveling. So you have to,
Downtown, they have to be.
you have to have. That
That
almost
draws them to try
sometimes,
to get out.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to be something like.
Very
Prosser, think about this, Prosser's truck stop is not far from downtown. We would be
Far.
farther
Yeah.
from downtown, or from.
Yeah.
from the main.
You have to go, okay, you know, we have a destination that's a few hours away, we can't make that big of a diversion. But if you could see, oh, look, there's a whole bunch of stuff right there,
Right.
let's go. So I mean, I think.
That's where I think that's where like wayfinding and
Signs.
Signage and.
A billboard to
Social
announce
media.
like the Cinco de Mayo, Sunshine, I mean, we get a lot of people coming through here that don't know
Yeah.
about this,
The big billboards
definitely
for
attract
sure.
people, yeah.
Or just even information sheets, like when you're like a visitor center. Like Zilla has
Yeah.
a really nice visitor center where they move the teapot, and there's actually an employee that is there. And I stopped and I was showing my son the teapot, and she's like, she opened the door, she's like, would you like to come in? We're like, what? It's a place? Went in there, it's like a little mini like museum, but it was literally a visitor center, and it had all this information about Zilla, this and that. I'm like, oh, we need a visitor center with someone working. First, it provides a job, and it provides just the information out there to give you a card or give you whatever your resource.
Person or something that we need doing another job.
Yes.
That could be there as well and just do like a dual.
Maybe that could be linked, since we can't have a chamber, that can be linked to our Main Street Association is having someone there.
Right.
Like the executive director, you know, who runs the Main
That's
Street.
their office.
Absolutely, can have the visitors.
Visitor center is
Visitor center.
And they're the first to know what people are looking for when they come to that.
exactly, like what are you in town for?
And I feel like we need to display, like some of our history here. I know we have the museum, but, Evel Knievel stuff. Like, isn't this where he
he just worked here for a little bit.
so he didn't partially live here?
He
Or
did
grew
for a
up
little
there when
while,
he was-
yeah.
Before he became Evel Knievel, like,
He
you
lived
know,
here for like
this
5
is the
years.
dirt he used to play in. This is where he decided
He
to.
came here every year,
That's cool.
my entire life. He's a really good friend of my family.
Cool.
And so, yeah, he actually did his jump Snake River on my family's property. So,
Like Evel Knievel, the dirt bike, the daredevil.
You jumped the motorcycle
Yeah.
across the Grand Canyon?
Everything you see about canyons and bikes has to do with Evel Knievel, they got it from him. But you know, like
Before side by
like the
side.
boulevard,
Yeah.
the tell me what it's called, because I'm having a brain fart right now, across the street from here. The boulevard, the memorial.
Oh, the memorial, yeah.
So having something out on the highway about that, and then the famous cow out on Dairy Gold, you know, people come from all over.
The young Great Ontario that they have signs for, but nobody knows.
Yeah,
Where
Yeah,
what is this?
there's like,
The
we have
famous,
Yellowstone Trail, we have a lot of like landmark,
yeah,
like historical stuff, but
So
it's
we-
not compiled.
right.
People, kids, especially kids,
Yeah.
don't even know from history.
I mean, I came here and I like researched it before I accepted this job and I didn't even know about this
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
so like,
So there's a meeting that live here.
Yeah.
that would be something, yeah.
And then the famous cow out on Dairy Gold, one of the employees said that they get people from all over the world come to that because it's the second cow. that they-
No, you go on their Instagram and they're everywhere.
Yeah, look it up. It's a
Cows
thing, and I'm like, why do we have that? Like, why don't we expose that more?
Yeah.
Be like a cow kingdom.
Do we, I know like when I go out of town and my wife looks at these pamphlets at the
Right.
hotel rooms, do we have those pamphlets
Yes,
available?
Yes,
It's Visit Sunnyside.
visit the sun.
Come to the sun.
Come to the
I
sun.
have to look one up and see what
Go
kind
to the
of
hotel
information
and
there
Still
is.
have to have it.
Yeah, they.
But that's where the visitor center, that's where the visitor center would come in handy. Cause that's literally,
Where,
yeah.
And where do we have these at? Just here or do we have
no,
them other places?
Businesses, hotels, your restaurants have
we get a bunch printed, we try to hand it
the
out.
paper,
Big good idea to go, you know, across the valley and put them at the hotels. and-
Yeah, they drop them off in my office too.
Do they?
They're just little, pamphlets. Yeah,
that'd be perfect spot.
yeah,
I'm just saying.
sorry.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so moving on to, so the four goals that they had. And then so here they go, they have it broken down into strategies and action steps. So this is where they break everything down a little bit. So we can kind of, and then it kind of goes over,
Oh, yes, where it falls into. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so. Again, here's what we're talking about right now, provide,
Clear, easy to read information and resources about city processes such as licensing, allowed uses and permitting, yeah.
yeah, so that's that, but that can also. Provide clear and easy to read information on directions to local businesses.
Yeah,
Something,
historical landmarks, different events that come up, like the hidden gem event that happens out on 241.
I know that in Illinois, signs are ran through the Department of Transportation, is that the same here in Washington?
on the freeway.
on the freeway,
I mean, if we have like signs that are like in town, does that, so that,
landmark.
really?
no, it's, yeah, it's either the landowner or. Public Works put together something that's,
If it's on city.
yeah, that's,
That's different, okay,
Yeah.
that's might be a little bit better, a little bit easier of a process to get like the landowners on your side.
Okay.
So,
yeah. And we've been talking about coming up with like a. Theme
Yes,
or.
a thing,
Or a design for,
identity.
an identity, yeah.
So it's the new famous word, identity for.
a cohesive, diverse theme, interesting, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've already, we just started this, develop programs and resources such as loans, grants and guides for. So I mean, we're getting there, that's a big one, that's their first goal for remote building reuse, so.
Yep. Incentives to reduce climate use.
Yeah. So they talk about partnerships, that's something I think we probably need to focus on a little bit in the future, cause we are having. Or we do, I think. Is it? Harry Tech? Or are they opening up an office here pretty soon on the Porch property?
I was gonna say, I thought they had one already.
They did already
pulled
out. They pulled out.
They pulled out?
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Oh, that was Wyvie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Architect, so Perry's coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Maybe they changed their mind and coming back, but maybe you're right, it's Whitey Tech and now.
Yeah. So,
I did have a meeting with the board,
Yeah,
with Jay, and he said that the school was gonna come in.
Welding, or what is it?
He couldn't give me too many details, but he
Oh.
did say it had to do with like local
Alright.
jobs.
Maybe get a diesel mechanic out here.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Take the
good
lead.
one. But see, that's where we can reach out to schools and partner up and say, look, this is our community, we've got our friend George here who runs the CDL. We've got truckers, and we show them all the facts and the statistics and say, the need is there, we need the school, yep.
And my husband, that's what he runs all of the equipment for SVID, so all their, and it's really hard to find mechanics. I know Rosa Irrigation, same thing, they can't find mechanics. They can't find these, they're just, you have to go, you have to go to Tri-Cities to get somebody, I think it's just overloaded. And the faster we grow in Sunnyside, the more those two companies are gonna be needing more, so yeah, I agree, those kind of things.
so career training, I think career training is
Yeah.
probably something that
Oh,
probably
absolutely.
need to be thrown in here somewhere. Especially with, as we were talking about earlier.
High school.
Yeah, post high school,
Wow.
as, cause we have jobs, we just need people, so.
Yeah.
So let's see here, again, we're back into case studies. They jump back down into. Parking analysis, we can do a parking analysis if you want, I'm happy to do a parking analysis.
That should be thrown in there too, or do we do anything?
We might as well, yeah, mix them up. Our building envelopes are pretty flexible. A lot of this talks about permitting, I think we're fairly good on the permitting front. Unless you think otherwise, as far as like building permits go and land use review stuff goes. We can talk about it, it's fine, let me know.
Go back to that, was number 2. Improvements to city increase department staffing. Yeah, definitely. Need to go back to that one. Sure.
Here, support residential development, so I think this needs to be a higher up
Yep.
strategy, I think it needs to be like a 2 or 3 level strategy.
Yeah.
In my mind, but.
Yeah.
And things like this review opportunities to use city-owned land and private partnerships. We're kind of working on that right now with the Munson site, but there's lots of other things to do, like lots of other ways to build partnerships out there as far as residential development goes.
Give me an example.
So one of the let's see here, tying residential use to commercial use. I think that's a big thing that we kind of haven't explored that well in the Yakima Valley altogether.
So like apartments above the buildings downtown, is that a thought? And I'm just because like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, that, or it doesn't even have to be downtown though, it could be the commercial areas of town. Yeah, we're getting multiple uses out of different places.
So like build a ADU or whatever, like,
That's part of it too.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay, be more, like the city being more approving of that.
Right.
Because of our housing crisis, so that would be, that's kind
So, and then when you tie, so when you do things like if you tie residential, if you bring together residential commercial development and say you have space where you're gonna create jobs, that kind of thing. Then the city they can go out on behalf of development and they can apply for grants, they can apply for loans, and they can put money in the pot as well. That helps develop infrastructure. So and infrastructure is like a big cost in development. So if the city can go out and you have a big building and half of the building is gonna be used for, I don't know, 200 jobs or something like that, but the other half is gonna be apartments. We kind of go out and be like, okay, here's what this space is gonna be used for. There's gonna be 200 jobs that are created, all of them are gonna be paid between $50,000 and $90,000 a year. And then, so then they, oftentimes a lot of people who are funding these programs, they go, yeah, I think we want that, I think Washington wants that. And they're more likely to either meet you halfway on a grant or give you a loan or something like that. So there's just different strategies to kind of promote infill and think a little differently about housing.
Be creative.
Yeah, we have to get creative. The reuse of old motels, that kind of thing, that's something you can do. Yeah, so explore modifications to the land use code. So that's something you guys can definitely like suggest to me. If you have an idea that can fall within our zoning ordinance, like, why aren't we doing this? Are we doing this? Let me know, and I'm happy to take it to the planning commission and kind of review it.
Are the wheels spinning?
Already told them.
Yeah. Improve walkability, so, and we're 5 minutes left, so I'll just cover the strategies. Improve walkability, so this is something, Sunnyside is actually a very walkable community, just like in general, we're not that big.
I just feel like it's not utilized though, people always want to park right in front of their destination. And then that's it,
Yeah.
it's like we need to promote
The
walking.
free parking spots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to promote that. It's like, I don't know how we would.
Well, we had talked in
No.
a prior meeting about limiting parking spots, like timing, but then we'd have to create somebody who's gonna monitor that. So it's just like a domino effect,
Yeah.
but it was a good idea, I think somebody said like a 15-minute one. And then the 2-hour one. That'll help kind of move them over to the free parking.
Yeah.
Also, when we get more downtown, I think if there were several places that I wanted to go, it wouldn't matter where I parked, because I was gonna get to those places anyway.
Cause you wanna pass by them.
Cause I don't wanna, I just wouldn't, oh yeah, I can go here.
Yeah.
So then I'll just find the best spot. That's what I do in Prosser.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, cause
Yeah, we park far, yeah.
and I just walk
You don't
over,
mind
because
walking.
there's
Go
several
walk.
places I wanna go. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter, cause I wanna hit those spots.
It really goes back to like our mentality, we're in Prosser, you know, cause you're accustomed to it, that's what you know, that you're gonna park all the way down to where the dentist is at or the car wash just to get to the restaurants to eat. You know, we're gonna park at AutoZone to go to, you know, the saloon or something, like, we already know that the parking is like, when you come to Sunnyside,
Everybody just wants to front.
we wanna. I wanna park in the front, when I go visit the kids, I'll turn around.
And you still won't find it.
Safeway, on the side, so. Yeah. But as we start hopefully bringing more into downtown and creating a downtown, it's gonna be something that we're definitely gonna need to consider as far as what we do with parking.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I was hoping Zomos would move to downtown, they closed us up to September 1st.
Really? That's
We have no
sad.
more Zomos. They're still looking for a place, but they were not,
Tony,
and he said he did,
you didn't
told them,
did you text or call?
I have no idea.
Have we looked at what is working for Prosser, what they're doing?
So that's, okay, so with the last 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna put a pause on this, while Dr. Chacon, I know you probably have to go in probably 2 minutes or.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we have a new guest. I haven't seen that person before.
I know, I was gonna say in the beginning, we should.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name's George Galvan, I'm running for city council, position 7. I'm just here, kind of listening and learning what different committees do.
So it's hard to hear.
Yeah,
Okay, well, nice to meet you. I was just wondering if we had another person, another member.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You were gonna say something too?
Well, the whole process.
Oh,
yeah.
And why
Yeah.
did that process community does it and.
We don't, yeah.
Okay, so. We were gonna talk about going to Wenatchee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and Wenatchee's another one of those communities where I feel like people park 3 miles away and walk.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That's what I wanna do, set up right now.
Okay.
So while we're here,
Because
we
yeah,
have-
we need to get like, not just ideas, but actually put them in.
I need to,
Yes.
I need to log into my 1 PM patient.
Oh. okay,
Okay,
we'll come up with a couple of dates and then we'll send them to you.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Sorry, we didn't introduce you.
No, it's fine.
Well, we kind of,
Okay.
wait, she was up there, or we didn't get, she wasn't on yet, yeah.
I
Yeah.
can wait to,
So,
It would be on another Tuesday or third, or what would you wanna do?
so this is gonna be a special meeting, cause we're gonna drive, I'm gonna go get the jail bus. And put.
We're gonna go do some community service.
Yeah.
Bring our wipes with you.
Oh,
We don't want to
sanitizer.
get criminal juice on us.
Oh my God.
I like.
I'm just bringing like a little trash bag and sit on that instead.
It's clean, I'm just being
Yeah, I
like,
know, it's a van, it's fine, it's a van.
like cramp our style, but we'd be okay.
Yeah.
So,
We're saving gas, or with car, to car, yeah. So you wanna do it on Tuesday, or do you
It
want
doesn't
to do it
matter.
another day?
It could
What
be-
month? What day? I say this month.
yeah, I would
Otherwise
say
it's fine.
September.
September, okay, what day are we looking at?
I was either thinking 19th, 20, 26, or 27.
When's the trick or treat, you know?
No, that's in October, yeah.
The 27th
Can you do the?
27?
works best for me, I've gone, so,
Can you do it Tuesday or Thursday?
It could be a Thursday too, it could be
it could be Thursday, the 28th,
If you guys can.
or the 26th, I could do 26th, 27th, 28th.
27 is a remotely slow day for me at the office.
or 28.
The Wednesdays.
But Brittany can't be.
Sorry, no, it's good, no, it's good. No, Thursday could be
Thursday? If I can make it, yeah. It's my birthday week.
So that's,
But
yeah,
it's okay, it's okay, you guys can
The
go
whole
in.
Got the whole week.
No, hold on, honey.
It's just give her a crown.
This, my birthday's on Tuesday, the 26th.
Okay, so And not you that want week for sure. You're off that week?
Yes,
So let's do it a prior week.
but that's okay, no, because I might come back. I might. I'm short staffed, remember, so I'm working around schedules, so
Oh,
regardless,
yeah.
I'm not sure if. How this is gonna work, but you guys
Debbie-
can
Let's do it
Debbie's
before.
birthday is the 27th, so she said she wanted it
go.
to go on the.
Okay. So you guys are planning for Thursday, the 28th?
If you,
At what time, from what time,
We're
what are
gonna-
we thinking?
We're probably gonna leave here early,
early in the morning so we can come back.
yeah.
How early?
She
You
needs
tell
her
us.
You tell us.
You're the birthday girl.
You're the birthday girl, what?
No, no.
No, yeah.
I wouldn't wanna leave any later than probably like 7:38,
Okay,
Because it is people all the time.
yeah.
7:30 AM.
We're gonna be hangry, so we're gonna have to eat up there.
Yeah.
And wear your comfy shoes. And there's 2 birthday girls, so they're by then lunch.
Okay.
Does that work? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's okay, you guys, if I can't make it, I'm sure you guys are gonna fill me in and send me pictures Okay.
How about the 21st?
Yeah, 21st, yeah, let's go, yeah, let's go to 21st then, it's a Thursday.
Yeah. I can't,
Um,
Avery has an appointment that day.
yes, I could go the 21st.
You can't,
It's not the week before. But that's okay, let's leave it for the 28th, 7:30.
You won't miss it, you won't, cause
I'm trying not
that's
to.
all excitement.
Yeah.
Put it in today's system.
Yes, we're gonna. I just,
you can get there and buy your birthday cake or something like that.
we'll figure it out.
Hey, you don't have stuff to cover, we can close that day.
Yeah, it's not just that, it's,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
you have to drop them off at school.
And daycare.
But you'll be back- But you'll be
In the
back by
morning.
6 though.
Be there at 9. Okay. So, but it's okay, guys. No big deal. You guys can totally do this without me. You guys can fill me in. I'll FaceTime one of you. We'll figure it out. Let's plan it though,
Figure it out.
and then we'll figure it out. Cause I don't want you guys to work around my schedule. If this is gonna work for you, we're gonna do it. Okay. Okay, so 28th, 7:30, when actually. Okay.
Is it too soon to plan for next week?
You can do it next week. Again, that's up to you.
I can't do it next week, but again, I'm like you,
Yeah. Gonna be okay. You guys do it when you can.
Or for going to pay, but I mean, based on.
I'm down for the 17th.
The 23rd.
That's fine with me too. Yeah.
Yeah, the 23rd is my anniversary day, and that week I'm gonna
Yes,
be
you're gonna
very
be
busy. And the following week, I'm going on vacation and I'm gonna be very busy trying to figure everything out, so
Well,
that's.
Brittany said, she could do it this week on the 7th.
I can.
Can you do it Thursday and you guys can go?
and I find
No.
my event is.
That's
that
right.
Just flying from Texas, so I have to get there for today.
Oh. You guys should keep it for the 28th,
But
then
I-
Debbie can go with you guys.
I mean.
What happened with the week of the
what's wrong with
14th?
October 4th or October
It's
5th.
gonna be cold though. If it gets colder,
I'm not gonna be
we
here.
can go.
But
you're not.
You can go without me though, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sydney.
I'm not driving that bus.
We have to get her a booster seat.
Yeah, no kidding.
Why don't you guys do it, Thursday the 14th?
Oh,
I'm gone
too.
I'm not.
Oh, then the 28th it is. All right, ladies,
Sorry.
Okay.
We're so, it's like pulling teeth.
it's hard. In October, I'll be busy,
You're always busy.
you know. I already promised Mary I would help her with fall festival, yeah. So,
But it's just one day, this trip. It's not the entire week
I
or the
know,
entire
I'm
month.
not hours. Yeah.
And you can take a day off.
I'll look at the times, maybe we can leave around a little later than like at 9.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We'll-
Yeah, we'll keep,
You can
It's not
schedule
like
your
you're
husband or
hungry.
something
Yeah.
to pick up your kid at night, right?
oh, yeah, that's not what I'm worried about.
And
No, no,
then
that's what he's saying, yeah, if the drop off, you can do it at 9,
Yeah,
then we can be here.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I'll figure it out. I don't wanna dwell on this, we're taking time on this and.
And we still have to get Chacone's
Yeah.
input too.
Oh,
So
her
that-
schedule, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Work around it, honestly, it
Yeah.
it doesn't work on my behalf, I totally get it too.
It's up to him.
Me too,
That's okay. Okay.
me too, don't work
But-
off my
But
schedule.
if Perlin and I both aren't there, that's it, I'm done. So, before we adjourn, can I just say
Yes.
one thing, if you haven't been to Rice Bakery yet, you haven't, you should go, it's really good, and I think that's a really good addition to Sunnyside, I just wanna give a shout out to them, because they're gonna come to Boomerang and do some desserts. And, if you're in town and you don't have, if it's not your birthday, and you don't have to go to Boomerang is Saturday, it's my 12th annual, and I have, like a ton of people coming.
You're literally
So-
you started pop-ups.
And
You're the
so,
one that started
So-
pop-ups in our area before
it's gonna
anybody did
be,
them.
the shit.
Yeah. Preach that.
Oh, that's fine.
We're still recording, yeah.
It's okay, cause I feel like it was in good context, like.
Be positive, you're the
It's fine.
be out of our community.
I'll be adjourned.
I know, that's all I was like.
No, it'll be good. It'll be perfect because that's helping small businesses, like you've helped jumpstart a lot of businesses from just being a vendor to owning their own brick and mortar. So I do give a shout
And
out.
hopefully
And
we'll
I
have
just
an
wanna say
incubator
this,
office.
Habitat Pizza is one of them,
Yes.
they are,
I started.
so, I mean, I'm not tooting my horn, but I think this is why.
To your horn,
why I'm
honey.
here, this is what we need, to get going.
It just literally starts with planting a seed and watering it and pretty soon it's a forest.
And that's why I feel like an incubator would be good.
That'd be
Here,
great.
you just gotta
Well, that's
find
what
the
the point
location.
is too, but we
Yeah.
need more of them. We need more of them, like
Right.
technically.
We need the city backing, we need the city backing, anyway.
Exactly.
And yeah. And hopefully we'll have some space here in the near future.
Yeah,
So fingers crossed. I think it's gonna happen. We just
it's gonna take a little
a
time.
little bit of time and then we can say, yeah.
We did it.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, anything from the committee, anything from the city? No? Okay, meeting adjourned 1:09. Thank you.